Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this afternoon's game between the visiting Bradford Lady Owls and the host Port Allegany Lady Gators. Again, thank you for joining us at 11 o'clock. Real quick update, we will have boys basketball Monday, live streaming against OV, and Friday, live against Galen. The girls' game next week will be Tuesday against Cameron County. Bradford comes onto the floor. They will bring the starters of Kenzie Miller, Mallory Craig, Elisa Johnson, number 13, Maddie Reimer, number 11, Bree Leo. For Port Allegany, we have number 3, Kaylee Bartlett, number 13, Haley Thomas, number 15, Madison Philhart, number 21, Bree Daniels, and number 22, Willow Sowers. Again, the JVs only have 6 again tonight. Kudos to the girls for showing up and playing. Tip 1 into Johnson. Johnson is fouled. Oh, an illegal pick called on Maddie Reimer. That's her first foul, team's first. Bartlett brings the ball up to Philhart. Philhart tries to get it down low, tipped and out of bounds by Reimer. Ball back to Port Allegany. To Bradford. Looked like it went off Port Allegany hand, I apologize. Or a Bradford hand. Johnson brings it up, guarded by Bartlett, looks to drive. Sowers reaches in, knocks it away, shots up, no good. Rebound, put back up by number 12. I believe they're going to get Kaylee Bartlett with a foul. That'll be her first. Miller to the line to shoot 2. First is good. Second's no good. Rebound off of Port Allegany's Thomas, out of bounds. Ball back to Bradford. Ball inbounded, now back out. Corner 3 up and good. Alicia Johnson with the 3 for Bradford, making a score 4-0 Bradford. Bartlett gets it off to Sowers. Sowers back to Bartlett. Bartlett's turnaround no good. Rebound pulled down by Miller. She brings it up, picked up by Philhart. Gets it back to Leo. Leo looks to drive. Her shot's up, no good. Philhart brings down a rebound. Brings the ball up the floor. Philhart to Thomas. Now down low into Daniels. Kicks it back out to Sowers. Tries to get it in. Ball taken away by Johnson. Guarded by Bartlett. Bartlett forces a turnover onto the floor. Philhart now brings the ball up for Port Allegany. Bartlett out top, over to Sowers. Sowers into Thomas. Thomas gets it out to Philhart. Now to Bartlett. Tipped away. Off of Thomas's hand, out of bounds. Bradford basketball. Ball inbounded. Up and good. Another bucket by Thomas. Making a score 6-0. Shot up, bucket made by Bartlett. 6-2. Block called on number 14 of Port Allegany, Sabrina Reed. She just checked into the game. She picks up her first foul, team second. Shots up, no good. Daniels with a rebound, gets it out to Sowers. Sowers up the floor to Bartlett. Reed looks into Daniels in the high post, down to Bartlett. Bartlett shots up, no good. Rebound to Sowers, and she's fouled by number 11, Bree Leo for Port Allegany. Sowers will go to the line to shoot 2. Sowers is first. No good. Second is up and good. 6-3. Lead cut in half for the Lady Gators. Ball comes into number 30, Alyssa Johnson. Looks to drive, cut off by Daniels. Brings it back out top. Ball deflected by Daniels into the hands of Reed. We have a foul called on the Bradford Owls, number 20, I believe, Mallory Craig. That'll be her first, team's third. Ball inbounded to Bartlett. Bartlett into Reed. Reed looks to drive. She's fouled again by number 11, Bree Leo. That's her second. Team's fourth. 3:51 to go in the first quarter. Port Allegany trailing 6-3. Checking in now for Bradford, number 10, Lillian Rodriguez. She will replace Leo. Ball's in, down low. Scrap for it on the floor. Reed comes up with it, but it's taken away by Johnson. Johnson's fouled by Philhart, I believe. That'll be Philhart's first. Team's third. Bradford ball, side out. Bartlett knocks the ball away loose on the floor. Have a little rugby scrum there. Ball comes into the hands now of Sowers. Jump ball called by referee Frank Arlington. Port Allegany possession arrow. Sowers to inbound. Sowers now drops it off for Thomas. Tries to get it in the high post to Daniels. Kicks it back to Bartlett. Bartlett fires up a 2, no good. Rebound loose on the floor. Philhart jumps in, causes a tie-up. Ball to Bradford. 3:07 left. Score 6-3, visiting Bradford Lady Owls. We've got a timeout on the floor. Called by Bradford. Now on the floor, the Lady Gator cheerleaders. Lady Gator cheerleaders are captains Lily Babcock. The other captain, Kaylin Bonowitz, a senior. The other three seniors are Kaylee Lloyd, Mackenzie Mitchell, Michaela Elkhorn, senior manager. The rest of the Lady Gator cheerleaders are Addison Burr, Devin Carpenter, Jersey Gamet, Savannah Hart, Avery Redmond, and they are coached by Terry Austin and Lisa Redmond. Ball now back in. Mackenzie Miller taken away by Sowers, but there's a travel called, so don't know who it's called on. It'll go back to Bradford. Bradford gets it in. Back in the hands of Miller. Now back out top to Leo. Over and back called. It'll be Port Allegany's ball. Referee Bill Howard on the call with that one. The other referee for tonight's game is Dan Boyer. Bartlett to Sowers. Sowers gets it down low to Bartlett. She's in a host. Into the hands of Daniels. Daniels gets it out to Sowers. Now to the corner to Thomas. Back out to Bartlett. Bartlett looks to drive. Kicks it to Thomas. Thomas's shot's up. No good. Sowers looks to pull down a rebound. Still loose. Miller now controls it for Bradford. Miller shots up, and it's good. Mackenzie Miller with her third point of the game. Ball into Thomas. Thomas gets it over to Sowers. Now to Phil Hart. Phil Hart down low to Sowers, through her hands, out of bounds. It'll go to Bradford. Mackenzie Miller brings it up the floor. She's guarded by Bartlett. Hands it off to number 13, Reimer. Into the hands of Rodriguez. She's called for the travel. Ball back to Port Allegany. Sowers. Back into Bartlett. Bartlett is fouled. I don't know who it'll be on. It'll either be on number 10, Rodriguez, or number 20, Craig. Foul is on Rodriguez. That'll be her first. Team's fifth. Sowers gets it into Daniels in a low block. Jump ball will stay with Port Allegany. The ball held there between Daniels and Mallory Craig. Again, Sowers looks to get it in, gets it into Thomas. Her shot's up, no good. Rebound in the hands of number 11, Bree Leo for Bradford. Now Miller out top. Shots up, no good. Phil Hart brings down the rebound. Gets into the hands of Bree Daniels. Daniels up the floor. Looks ahead for Sowers. Sowers looks to drive. Drive stop. Back to Bartlett. Over to Phil Hart. Phil Hart shot from the elbow. No good. Ball still alive on the floor. It's Phil Hart. Looks like we may have another tie-up. Ball still loose. It's a rugby scrum down there. Jump ball called between number 10, Rodriguez, and number 13, Thomas. Bradford now has possession of the arrow. Miller with the ball. Sowers stops her dribble. Now Craig with it out top. Craig looks to drive, still loose. Craig. Bartlett steps in front, has it. Gets to Daniels. Daniels back to Bartlett. Bartlett shot up, no good. 26 seconds left. Ball back to Bradford. Score 8-3 in favor of Bradford. Miller. Bradford holding for one shot. And in the hands of Leo. Back to Miller. Ball batted around again, kick. Another rugby scrum. Ball will go to Port Allegany. Port definitely. Bartlett's three off the rim. No good as time expires. Bartlett put it up as time is expiring. Couldn't get it to fall, so at the end of one, it is visiting Bradford Lady Owls 8, the Port Allegany Lady Gators 3. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Sitting here overlooking the crowd, I see the mayor of Batula, Jim Thomas, is here today, gracing us with his presence, as well as Batula's first lady. They're here to watch their granddaughter, Haley Thomas. Okay, it will be Bradford basketball. Ball now into the hands of Johnson out top. Sowers knocks it away. Grabbed back by Johnson. Into the corner now to Leo. Leo looking to be tied up by Reed. Ball back into the hands of Johnson. Johnson looks to drive. Her shot's up. No good. Ball on the floor. Phil Hart again scrapping with Reimer. Ball goes back to Port Allegany. Bartlett brings it up. Leaves it for Sowers. Ball out of bounds. Back to Bradford. Johnson gets it into Craig. Shots up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Sowers. Sowers looks to get it out to Bartlett. Too far ahead, out of bounds. Johnson looks to get it in. Taken away by Daniels. Now in the hands of Bartlett. Bartlett out to Sowers. Port Allegany on the break. Sowers is fouled by number 13, Reimer. That is Reimer's second. Team sixth. Next foul, Port Allegany will be shooting a one-on-one. Sowers the inbounds. Sowers gets it down low to Reed. Her shot's up and good. Sabrina Reed with her first 2 points of the game, making the score 8-5. Port Allegany still trailing by 3. Illegal pick set by number 13 of Bradford, Maddie Reimer. Bucket up made by Phil Hart. That was a 7th team foul for Bradford. Phil Hart with the steal. Phil Hart coming down the floor looking to drive. Her shot's up, but into the hands of Reed. Her shot's no good, into the hands of Johnson. Port Allegany now trailing by 1. Johnson looks to shoot, gets it back over to Leo. Leo drives, her shot's blocked by Daniels. Daniels is fouled by Leo. That is Leo's 3rd. It's the team's 8th team foul. I guess on the offensive fouls, like a charge, it doesn't go to the 1-on-1. I don't understand why. But Port got the bucket, so it was good. Good wash. So here we go. Daniels at the line to shoot 2. Daniels' shot's no good. Into the hands of Johnson, and she traveled. Ball back to Port Allegany. Port Allegany will take a timeout with 4:26 left in the first quarter, or left in the first half, trailing 8-7. Port Allegany racing a 5-point deficit, has it cut to 1 now. And we'll be back in 30 seconds. We're back. Port Allegany ball on the side, right in front of the scorer's table. Inbound is going to be made by number 14, Sabrina Reed. Reed gets it in the hands of Bartlett. Bartlett to Phil Hart. She fires up a shot. Bucket good just inside the 3-point line. Madison Phil Hart with her bucket gives her, I believe, 4 points for the game. Port Allegany up 9-8. Bartlett with a steal. She looks to drive, kicks it off to Phil Hart. Nice pass. Phil Hart's fouled. She'll go to the line to shoot 2. Good look by Bartlett on the break to get the ball to Phil Hart. That foul is the first foul on number 30, Elisa Johnson. Phil Hart's first. No good. She has 1 left. Phil Hart's second. Shot is up. No good. Did not hit the rim. Ball back to Bradford. Port with the lead, 9-8. Ball in the hands of Johnson. Phil Hart looks to steal, knocks it away into the hands of Miller of Bradford. Miller now gets it to Leo. Leo traveled, moved her pivot foot. Ball goes back to Port Allegany on the side. Phil Hart to inbound to Bartlett. Port Allegany starting to drive the ball to the bucket here in the second quarter. They are on a 6-0 run. Ball to Reed, back into Bartlett. Pass knocked away into the hands of Craig. Craig from Bradford gets it to Johnson. Johnson guarded by Phil Hart. Port Allegany still playing man. Ball tipped on the floor. Back to Johnson. Phil Hart on her. Phil Hart gets through the screen. Johnson drives. Phil Hart. I believe the foul will be called on Phil Hart. As one official said tip, the other said foul. Johnson to go to the line to shoot 2. Johnson's first, no good. Now into the game, number 22 for Port Allegany, Willow Sowers coming out. Number 13, Haley Thomas. Johnson seconds up and good. We have a tie game here. Johnson with 6 of Bradford's 9 points. Score tied 9-9. Gets the ball to Sowers. Sowers to Reed. Looks inside to the high post. Sowers out there by herself. Gets it into Reed, and she's fouled. She will go to the line to shoot to 1-1. Foul is on number 30, Elisa Johnson. That's her second. So Bradford has Leo and Reimer with 3, Johnson with 2. Reed's first is up, no good. Reed now will be shooting 2, as is the 10th foul. So Port Allegany will shoot 2 the whole way here. Reed's next up, didn't hit the rim. Okay, Johnson brings it up. Johnson looks to drive, kicks it back, shots up, no good. Rebound by Johnson. Her putback is good. No, putback comes out, but there's a foul. I believe this will be on Phil Hart. That is Madison Philhart's 3rd foul. Team's 5th. To the line to shoot 2 is Johnson. Her first is good. Now they have 2 fouls for Phil Hart. Not 3, just 2. Johnson, second shot. No good, didn't hit the rim. Bradford with a 1-point lead, 10-9 now. 2:43 left. Ball in. Bartlett. Gets to the Phil Hart from the elbow. Phil Hart's bucket's good, making a score of 11-10. Port Allegany back in the front by 1. Phil Hart with 6 points so far this afternoon, morning, whatever you'd like to call it. Ball back out to Johnson. Guarded by Phil Hart. Johnson kicks it to Leo. Now into the hands of Miller. Her shot's up, no good. That goes out of bounds. Ball back to Port Allegany. Port Allegany up 1-11-10. 2:07 left in the first half. Bartlett pass deflected by Johnson. Bartlett on her. Charge called on Alicia Johnson. As Bartlett came down, got good position. Ball back to Port Allegany. That should be Johnson's 3rd. Like I said, everything I have here is unofficial. But I have her for 3. So now Bradford has 3 starters with 3 fouls apiece. That is Johnson, Reimer, and Leo. Reed shots up. No good. Battle for the rebound into Sowers' hand. Jump ball going to be called. That will go to Bradford. .142. Johnson kicks it out. Daniels with a steal. Daniels looking to drive the lane. Daniels' shot's up and good. Bree Daniels with her first points of the game. Now 13-10 in favor of Port Allegany. 1 minute left. Port Allegany still playing man. Ball knocked away by Phil Hart, but into the hands of Johnson, foul called this time on Phil Hart. That is Phil Hart's third. '16 foul. Bucket's good. Score now 13-11. Next is good, now 13-12. Bradford down one. Port Allegany gets it to Sowers. Now into the hands of Thomas. Thomas travels. 52 seconds left in the half. Bradford down one, looking to inbounds. Port extends the man. Ball now into the hands of number 20, Mallory Craig, back into Johnson. Johnson gets it out, shots up, no good. Looks to get it down low. Sauer steps in front, and off of Thomas, it stays with Bradford. 37 seconds left. Ball comes in, gets it back out to Miller. Ball deflected by Sowers. Still stays with Bradford. Miller to inbound. Ball now into the hands of, shots up by number 13, Reimer. That's her two. Bradford up 14-13. 17 seconds left. Daniels comes back, fires up, but into the hands of Reed, the rebound. Jump ball, it'll stay with Port Allegany. 12 seconds left, Port Allegany to inbounds. Ball into the hands of Daniels, back out to Bartlett. Bartlett fires up a three. Off of Reimer from Bradford. It'll stay with Port Allegany. 14-13. 6 seconds left. Ball into Daniels. Jump ball called. Ball back to Bradford. 4 seconds left. Port Allegany applies pressure. Into the hands of Johnson. Johnson fires up a three. Good if it goes. It's not. So at the end of the first half, the visiting Bradford Owls are ahead 14-13 over the host Gators. First quarter, Bradford outscored Port Allegany 8-3. Second quarter, Port Allegany outscored Bradford 10-6. We'll be back in about 8 minutes. Okay, we're back. Rundown of the leading scorers for Bradford. Elisa Johnson has 8 points, but 3 fouls. Maddie Reimer has 3 fouls. Bree Leonard has 3 fouls for Bradford. Mackenzie Miller has 2 points for Bradford. 3 points for Bradford. Port Allegany is led by Madison Philhart with 6, but also has 3 fouls. Sowers has 1 point. Daniels has 2. Reed has 2. Bartlett has 2. Ball into Bartlett. Bartlett over to Philhart from her spot where she's been hitting. It's short into the hands of Rodriguez. Rodriguez looks to drive, cut off by Philhart. Travel called. As Philhart got in front of her, made her change her route. Port Allegany ball. Bartlett off to Daniels, now to Sowers. Sowers to Daniels, Sowers cuts to Philhart. Philhart to Sowers. Sowers' shots up, bucket's good. Willow Sowers with her first basket of the game, 3 points for the game as she's made 1 foul shot. Ball now into the hands of number 12, Miller. Miller gets it to Rodriguez, back to Miller. Out top to Reimer, now into the hands of Craig. Long 3 up, no good. Rebound into the hands of Daniels. Daniels to Bartlett. Bartlett gets it down to Reed. Reed looks to drive. Ball called out of bounds. Miller brings it up. Kicks it out to Leo. Miller, she's guarded by Bartlett. Bartlett with a block, but a foul called. That'll be Bartlett's second. Miller to go to the line to shoot 2. Shots up, good. She has 1 more, does Mackenzie Miller. Now into the game, number 30, Alicia Johnson. Second is good. Bradford now up 1. Bartlett brings the ball down. Off to Reed, now to Sowers. Gets it down low to Reed. Reed's pass deflected, but into the hands of Bree Daniels. Bartlett shots up, no good. Shots up, no good. Daniels with a rebound, looks to run. Sowers to Bartlett. Bartlett to Daniels. Gets it to Philhart. Philhart shots up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Leo. Up the floor comes Bradford. Ball bounced around on the floor. Bartlett kicks it out to Sowers. Reed, now Daniels. Daniels puts up a 2. Bucket's good as her foot was in the line. Daniels is 4th of the day. Foul called on number 13, Maddie Reimer. That is her 4th, team's first. I believe that's her 4th. Like I said, everything I have here is unofficial. It says 3 on her. Phil Hart to Sowers. Back down low to Phil Hart. Her shot's up. No good. Ball on the floor. Traveling called against Bradford as she went to the floor. Mackenzie Miller moved her foot. Ball back to Port Allegany underneath. Port Allegany gets into the Phil Hart. Her shot's up. No good. Rebound goes back to Bradford as it went out of bounds. Port Allegany up 1, 3:37 left. Another foul call, the illegal screen called on number 12, Mackenzie Miller. I have that as her first. Bartlett. That's Miller's second. Sowers gets it down low to Daniels. Daniels looks to drive. She's in trouble. Jump ball is called. Ball goes to Bradford. Timeout called by Bradford's coach, Taylor Smith. That'll be a 30-second timeout. JV coaches for Bradford, Taylor Smith and Casey Clausen. Port Allegany's JV coach, Rebecca Schwab. Varsity coach is Marty Bichelli for Bradford. Port Allegany's varsity coach is Jamie Evans. Bradford ball. Trailing by 1, 17-16, 3:15 to go. Ball held by Alyssa Johnson. Now into the corner. Back out to Johnson. Johnson looks to drive. Cut off by Phil Hart. Hands it off to Miller. Miller shots up. Rebound pulled down by number 20. Shots up, no good. Rebound now by Reed. As Craig missed a layup. Now in the hands of Phil Hart. Phil Hart kicks it to Bartlett. Daniels, Sowers. Cross pass to Phil Hart. Phil Hart from the elbow. Bucket's good. Madison Phil Hart with her 8th point of the game. Port extends the lead to 3. Phil Hart now guarding Johnson. Her shot's up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Mallory Craig. She's fouled by Daniels. She'll go to the line to shoot 2. I believe that's Daniels' first, team's second. Shot's no good by Craig. Second one's live. Shots up, no good. Rebound, knocked around. Daniels picks it up. Daniels brings it up the floor, gets it off the Reed, now to Sowers. Sowers to Bartlett. Back to Reed. Reed gets it to Daniels out top. Daniels skips it over to Sowers. Sowers looking for a cutter. Has Daniels cutting. Timeout called before the play. Basket no good. Port Allegany calls a timeout before bucket no good. So Port Allegany will regroup with a 30-second timeout. I think what happened there is they were trying to do that give and go and have a cutter the girls weren't cutting yet. I think Coach Schwab went to call a timeout to explain to them, look, I want you to cut. And just as she calls the timeout, they cut. So Porch ball underneath. Sowers to trigger it in. Sowers gets it into Daniels. Tipped away by Reimer. Maddie Reimer. Sowers now to throw it in. Ball out to Philhart. Back over to Bartlett. Bartlett fires up a three. Off the rim, no good. Rebound. Bartlett goes and gets it, kicks it to Sowers. Sowers looks to drive. Her shot's no good. Rebound to Daniels. She puts it back up. That's no good. Daniels gets her own rebound, stays with it. Now into the hands of Reed. That's knocked away by Johnson. Drive, nope, no good. Battle for the rebound with Bartlett and Johnson. Ball goes back to Port. Bartlett now brings it up. Into Philhart. Philhart gets it back to Sowers. Sowers looks to drive. Sowers gives it to Daniels. Foul called on number 12, Mackenzie Miller. That's her third. Yeah, the foul I had given to Alyssa Johnson was called on Miller because Miller should have three now. Ball in. Team's third. 52 seconds. Sowers is passed. Stolen by Johnson. Johnson looks to run. Reed back. Shots up. No good. Johnson with the rebound, and she is fouled by Madison Philhart. That is her fourth foul. Team's third. Johnson to the line to shoot two. Johnson's first. Good. Johnson 5 for 7 from the line. Now in for Port Allegany, number 13, Haley Thomas. Madison Philhart to the bench with 4 fouls. Johnson second. No good. Long rebound into the hands of Reed. Reed brings it down. Gets it off to Daniels. Daniels back to Reed. Carry called on Johnson. Bartlett brings it up. Bartlett to Sowers. Bartlett cuts through. Sowers gets it to Thomas. That ball's deflected. Now Reed has it. Reed to Daniels. Daniels looks down to Bartlett. Bartlett shots up. No good. 9 seconds. 8 seconds left. Bradford ball. Ball in the hands of Johnson. Johnson looks to bring it up the floor. Her pass thrown out of bounds. 2 seconds left. Port Allegany to inbounds. Ball rolled up. Shots up, no good. That's the end of the third quarter. With the score, Port Allegany now ahead 19-17. Yep. Port Allegany now outscored Bradford in that period 6-3 to go up by 2, 19-17. The Port Allegany cheerleaders, sorry. Okay, on the floor for Port Allegany, we have Reed, Thomas, Sowers, Daniels, and Bartlett. Philhart with 4 fouls on the bench. Bradford comes back with Leo, Miller, Johnson, Craig, and Reimer. Drive by Johnson, no good. Reed pulls down a rebound. Sorry, drive by Leo. Reed pulls down a rebound, gets it in the hand of Sowers. Sowers to Reed. Reed has it stolen by Johnson. Reed called for the hand check as the ball was stolen away and Johnson started down court. Bartlett goes for the steal. Johnson now gets it off, shots up, no good. Sowers hustles after the rebound, brings it back in for Port. Sowers takes her time coming up the floor, 6:20 to go in the first quarter. Daniels off to Bartlett. Bartlett to Reed. Bartlett cuts. Reed can't find her. Jump ball called. It'll stay with Port Allegany. Ball into Bartlett. Bartlett fires up a 3. Off the rim, no good. Rebound to Sowers. Her shot's up, no good. Rebound into the hands of Elisa Johnson. Johnson brings it up the floor. Looks in the high post to Craig. Back to Johnson. Johnson's drive. Basket's no good. Bartlett with the rebound for Port Allegany has Johnson trailing. Bartlett pulls up, kicks it back to Reed. Reed shot from the foul line, no good. Leo now brings the ball back and gets it to Johnson. Johnson up the floor. Johnson off to Craig. Craig with a skip pass, brought in by Miller, who gets it back to Leo. Timeout called by Bradford's coach. 30 seconds as they were close to getting a 5-second call on them, as the defense was applied by number 13, Haley Thomas of Port Allegany. .5:18 to go in the fourth quarter. Port Allegany up 19-17. Bradford's ball. On the Gator home fan side will be the inbound. Miller set to inbounds. Daniels knocks it away, but back to the hands of Miller. Miller is called for the push-off. She gave the forearm shiver to Reed. .5:12. Bartlett brings it up. Bartlett over to Sowers. Sowers to Thomas. Thomas Ball deflected into the hands of Miller. Miller cut off by Thomas. Sowers hustles, tips it away, but hustling back is Reimer. She gets a ball. Foul called on Port Allegany's Daniels. That'll be her second, team's fifth. Port Allegany 5 team fouls. Bradford with 4. Ball to Miller. Miller cut off by Reed. Off of her foot as she knocked it away. Ball stays with Bradford. Inbounds. Miller now gets it off. Shot partially blocked by Sowers. Jump ball stays with Bradford. As Johnson had her shot blocked, followed it up. Enough for the tied ball. Ball now to Miller. Now to Johnson, her shot. Up, no good. Out of bounds, it goes to Port Allegany. Port Allegany, 4:20 left. Up 19-17. Ball to Reed. Reed shot from the elbows, no good. Rebound into the hands of Johnson. She has Reed back. Reed up with it defensively. Good job. Rebound pulled down by Daniels. Now Bartlett. Bartlett called for the travel. Into the game now for Port Allegany. Madison Philhart. Philhart playing with 4 fouls. Replaces Thomas. Johnson brings it up. Guarded by Bartlett. Philhart switches. Shot up. No good. Philhart hustling for a rebound. Jump ball. Goes back to Port Allegany. Ball tipped out of bounds, stays with Port Allegany. 3:30 left to play. Sowers to inbounds. Possession arrow in favor of Bradford now. Gets it off to Philhart. Shots up, no good. Leo kicks the ball to Johnson. Johnson brings it up the floor. Johnson guarded by Bartlett. Bartlett knocks it away off of Johnson's foot. Ball was tipped by Bartlett and went off of Johnson's foot. Rolled out of bounds. Back to Port Allegany. Sowers now to Bartlett. Bartlett looks to get it to Reed. Reed shot. Up, no good. Backside rebounding, no good for Bradford, for Port. Foul is on Kaylee Bartlett. That's her third. Team sixth. Port Allegany coach will take a full timeout, as we'll leave it here for the Port Allegany cheerleaders. I'll announce them after the cheer. The Port Allegany cheerleaders. The Port Allegany cheerleaders, they are Lily Babcock, Caden Bonowitz, Addison Bird, Devin Carpenter, Jersey Gammett, Savannah Hart, Kaylee Lloyd, Mackenzie Mitchell, Avery Redmond, Michaela Acorn. The seniors are Michaela Acorn, Mackenzie Mitchell, Kayla Lloyd, senior captain Kaylin Bonowitz, as well as Lily Babcock, not a senior but a captain. They are coached by Terry Austin and Lisa Redmond, the Gator cheerleaders. Ball now up the court in the hand of Johnson. Bradford pulling it out, looking for one shot. Shot up, out of bounds. Shot was fired up by Leo. That goes out of bounds into the hands of Port Allegany with 2:40 left. Bartlett brings it up. Off to Sowers. Now to Philhart. Sowers cuts. Reed to Bartlett. Back to Reed. Ball's tipped, but Daniels maintains it. Still possession, Port Allegany. Now back to Bartlett. Off to Philhart. Sowers has it. Kicks it to Reed. Reed brings it back out. Gets it back to Philhart. 2 minutes. Now to Sowers. Back out to Philhart. Philhart fires up a three way off out of bounds. 1:55 left. Port Allegany's up by 2. Alicia Johnson brings the ball up for Bradford. Johnson to Craig. Craig looks for Johnson. Shots up, no good. Philhart with the rebound. Brings it up for Port Allegany. Port Allegany looking to take the air out of the ball here. Now to Reed. Philhart cuts and she's fouled. She'll go to the line. Philhart will shoot 2. Foul called on number 30, I believe. That is Elisa Johnson. That's her 4th. Philhart to shoot 2 with 1:30 left here. Philhart's first. No good. So far, Philhart 0 for 3 from the line tonight, trying to break the jinx. Philhart's next one's up. No good, short. Rebound into the hands of number 11, Leo. 126. 16 fouls for Port, 5 for Bradford. Johnson with the drive. Her shot's up, no good. Bartlett brings down a rebound. Out ahead to Reed. Reed runs the ball down. Kicks it back out to Sowers. 1 minute left. Bartlett. Sowers keeps it out. Jump ball called. Back to Bradford. Johnson brings it up. Ball tipped away by Daniels, but into the hands of Craig. Now back to Johnson. Foul called on Bartlett. That is her 4th. Port's 7th. That'll be 1-1 as Johnson to go to the line to shoot the front end of the 1-1 with 39 seconds left. Johnson with the first. No good. Philhart pulls down the rebound. Philhart brings the ball up, takes her time. Philhart gets it over to Daniels. 31 seconds left. Daniels into Sowers. Sowers gets it to Reed. Back out top to Philhart, over to Bartlett. Bartlett shots up. Bucket's good. Port Allegany now up 21-17 with 14 seconds left. Bartlett Drives up, no good. Rebound into Daniels' hand. She gets it to Sowers with 6 seconds left. Port Allegany will hold on and win the JV game. 21-17 is their final. So, Port Allegany, the winner, 21-17 in the JV game. We will be back in about 14, 15 minutes for the varsity game. See you then. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back for varsity girls basketball from the swamp. Today, the Port Allegany Lady Gators host the Lady Owls of Bradford. Port Allegany is coached by Jamie Evans, assisted by Rebecca Schwab. Bradford is coached by Marty Bachelli, assisted by Taylor Smith and Casey Clausen. Starters for Bradford: number 2, Elena Benson; number 22, Carly Bercini; number 14, Kaylee Dixon; number 3, Corey Dixon; and number 4, Mackenzie Taylor. Port Allegany will counter with number 2, Evan Stauffer; number 5, Leah Nelson; number 10, Ella Moses; number 23, Kalia Dowell; and number 24, Bren Evans. Now for the national anthem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. The officials for tonight's game are Frank Arlington, Bud Brennan, and Dan Boyer. Real quick, giving the shout-outs again. All those people in Florida, shout out to you. Roger, Kathy. Also, a couple other shout-out requests. Mandy Borm, Winann Ramo, The Shells, Jade Evans, and any and all other Evans or McNeil relation, wherever you are throughout the state. Shout out to the Stauffers and anybody else watching the Stauffers. I would like to thank my wife for getting me out of the house, sending me up here. So again, shout out to them all, and the number one main shout out is to the biggest Tommy Ricketts fan. And you know who you are out there. It is Tommy Ricketts, and he's got no neck. Okay, we're going to try to do 2 here at once now, as Dan Funk's jumping in. So he's going to be the Kenny Smith to me, being Shaquille O'Neal or Charles Barkley. All right, here we go. Oh, that's true. That's a compliment. At my age, I still have hair. All right, we're getting ready to go. Gators on the floor. To tip for Bradford, Kaylee Dixon, number 14. Again, a reminder, the boys will have games at home Monday and Friday. Monday against OV, Friday against Galen. The Port Allegany girls will be home against Cameron County on Tuesday. All 6 o'clock starts. Ball into Moses, now to Dowell. Back to Stauffer, through her hands, over and back, ball to Bradford. Ball in the hands of Taylor. Taylor up top. Port Allegany and a man. Dowell with the steal. Dowell looks to break. Cut off by Taylor. Gets it down low to Moses. Moses kicks it to Stauffer. Stauffer's three's up. No good. Rebound long. Dowell hustling. Out off of her as she goes to the floor. Ball to Bradford. 7:29 scoreless so far in the first 31 seconds. For some of you from around here, not the state of Maine, that's a trap. I mean, up there in Maine, it's got moose and everything else, so yeah, it's a trap. Stauffer brings it up. Stauffer drives, baseline shots up, no good. Moses with a rebound, kicks it back to Evans. Evans shots up, bucket for Bryn Evans. Her first 2 points of the game. Nelson with the steal. Nelson kicks it back to Moses. Moses' bucket's up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Benson. Benson looks to run, loses control of the ball. Ball back to Port Allegany. A Stauffer win, bounce to the side here. Sorry, Moses. Nelson brings it over half court. Sets it off to Stauffer. Into the corner to Evans. Moses. Evans cuts down low in the low post. Kicks it out to Dowell up the top. To Nelson. Nelson shots up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Corey Dixon. She gets it quickly out to Taylor. Taylor looks to drive the floor. Her bucket's up and good. Mackenzie Taylor with her first bucket of the game for Bradford, tied 2-2. Nelson leaves it for Moses. Port girls coming out a little sloppy. Dowell gets it to Stauffer. Stauffer drives, shots up, no good. Moses battling for the rebound. It's out of bounds. I believe it will stay with Port Allegany as it did go off the hands of Mackenzie Taylor. Nelson on the side. Into Stauffer. Stauffer baseline. Gets it down low to Dowell. Sure shot's up. No good. But she'll go to the line to shoot two. Kalia Dowell on the line to shoot two for Port Allegany. That foul was called on Kaylee Dixon. Her first, team second. Dowell's bucket, her foul shot up and good. 3-2 now. Second, it's good as it's off the front of the rim. Gets the friendly shooter's roll. Port now in the pressure defense again. Knocked out of bounds by Stauffer. 5:20. Benson gets it into Taylor. Port now goes into a man. Moses gets it out to Stauffer. Stauffer looks to drive. Her ball's knocked away and blocked by Mackenzie Taylor. Out of bounds. Ball back to Port Allegany. Oh, Stauffer, baseline three, good. Stauffer staying hot on the 3 points at home here. Moses with a steal to Stauffer. That bucket's up and good. It's 9-2 here. Port Allegany on a quick 5-point run within 4 seconds, forcing a timeout by Bradford. Skip through the trap. Okay, Benson brings it up. Gets it off to Taylor. Now down low to Corey Dixon. Jump ball called. It will stay with possession with Bradford. Traveling as Percini caught the ball, couldn't bring it down to dribble. Turnover Bradford. I believe that's their 4th turnover so far. Ball back to Port Allegany. Moses looks for instruction. Gets it off to Stauffer. Stauffer has Percini knock it away, but regathers it. Skip pass over to Dowell. Dowell's three's up, and it counts, and she'll go to the line for the end one. As she was bodied out, didn't let her land. Dowell for the extra one. And that's good. Okay. Blocking foul called on Kalia Dowell. Her first, team's first. Percini to inbounds. Gets it in the hands of Taylor. Taylor guarded by Moses. Nelson steps up. Ball knocked away. Benson picks it up for Bradford. Benson's three's up and good. Elena Benson with 3 for Bradford. 13-5 now. Nelson kicks it over to Dowell. Dowell to Stauffer. Stauffer fires up a 3. No good, but Nelson gets the rebound. Gets it back to Moses. Moses, little drive. Right-hand shot up. No good. Rebound pulled down by Corey Dixon. Now into the hands of Mackenzie Taylor. Over to Kaylee Dixon. Kaylee Dixon drives the baseline for the bucket. 13-7. Port Allegany was up 13-2. Bradford on a 5-0 run. Nelson looks to drive, double dribbles. Another turnover. Ball back to Bradford with 3:15. Bradford down by 6 now. Dowell with the deflection of the pass. Gets it over to Percini now. Percini looks to drive. Dowell now has a steal. Foul called on number 22, Percini. Bradford's 4th. I believe that is Percini's 2nd. Nelson looks to drive. Nelson called for a carry. She did come over the top. Percini to the bench. In for Bradford, number 30, Elisa Johnson. Also number 55, Baxter in for Port. Drive shots up made by Elena Benson. That's 5 for her. Now the lead 13-9. Johnson had double digits in the JV game. Baxter got it into Moses. Moses kicked it back out to Stauffer. Moses' shots up, no good. Tipped into the hands of a streaking Mackenzie Taylor. Her pass off to Benson, and she's fouled. She'll go to the line. Kalia Dowell picks up her second foul. Benson to the line to shoot 2. First is good. Score now 13-10. Benson with the second. Benson now with 7 of Bradford's 11. Stauffer brings it up. Kicks it to Evans. Evans from a corner. Good. Bryn Evans with for 3. Yeah, it was a 9-0 run by Bradford to get back into the game. Ball back out, shot up by Johnson, no good. Moses with the rebound. Port Allegany up 5, 16-11. Moses looks to drive, kicks it to Baxter. Baxter drives, kicks it back to Stauffer. Stauffer will skip past to Nelson. To Bryn Evans, she's fouled by Elena Benson. That'll be Benson's second, team's 5th. So Bradford has Benson and Parchini with 2. Kaylee Dixon has 1. For Port Allegany, Kalia Dowell has 2 fouls. Inbound underneath. Evans flashes. Back to Stauffer from the baseline. Baseline 3's up, no good. Into the hands of Johnson. Johnson looks to bring it up, harassed by Nelson. Nelson with the knockaway, ball on the floor into Bryn Evans. Johnson stays with it, and then she's fouled by Bryn Evans. I believe that'll be Evans' first. Team's 3rd. 1:11 left. Taylor off to Benson. Benson shots up, no good. Rebound loose. Picked up by Kaylee Dixon. In the middle is Nelson, and she's fouled by Elisa Johnson. That is Johnson's first, Bradford's 6th. The next time there's a foul, Port Allegany will be shooting a 1-on-1. 55 seconds. Moses fires up a 3. It's good. Ellen Moses with her 3. Drive now by Elena Benson. Benson backs up. She fires up a 3. No good. Rebound pulled down by Bryn Evans. Into the hands of Moses. Port Allegany now up 19-11. Moses kicks it to Evans. Evans fires up a 3. It's short. Moses hustles. Can't keep it alive. Port Allegany, which had a lead cut to 2, is now back up by 8 as Port Allegany goes on a 6-0 run. Elena Benson hands it off to Johnson. Johnson brings it up. Off to the shot up, no good. Battling for the rebound was Kaylee Dixon. It goes out of bounds off her. Ball back to Port Allegany with 6 seconds. Into the game for Port Allegany is Kalia Dowell. She replaces Jen Baxter. Nelson brings the ball up with 10 seconds left. Nelson bounces to Moses. Moses back to Nelson. Nelson, top of the key, Leah Nelson hits a three-point shot. Port Allegany now increased the lead to 11. Port Allegany back up 11. The end of the first quarter, the Port Allegany cheerleaders, ladies and gentlemen. The Port Allegany cheerleaders are captain Lily Babcock, also captain senior Kaylin Bonowitz, as well as seniors Kaylee Lloyd and Mackenzie Mitchell, and senior manager Michaela Alcorn is a senior also. Addison Burr, Devin Carpenter, Jersey Gamet, Savannah Hart, Avery Redmond make up the rest of the cheerleading squad, and they are coached by Terry Austin and Lisa Redmond, the Port Allegany cheerleaders. It's Saturday, it's closed in Port. Evans is up, her shot's no good. Corey Dixon gets the ball out, now back over to Kaylee Dixon. Her shot's no good. Moses comes down with a rebound. Up she comes. Moses looks to drive, kicks back to Dowell. Dowell's three's up, no good off the front of the rim. Evans with the rebound. Stauffer with a little jumper, no good. Into the hands of Elena Benson. Benson looks to run, cut off by Dowell. Dowell calls out the play, looks to drive. Dowell shoots up Benson with the three, no good. Moses with another rebound. Moses keeps it, drives all the way to the hoop, no good, the bucket. Rebound into the hands of Kaylee Dixon. She gets it immediately out to Benson. Benson all the way down. She fires up a three, no good. Dowell with the rebound. Ball to Brent Evans. Evans skip pass to Moses. Moses fires up a three. It's short. Dowell with the rebound. Kicks it to Nelson. Nelson says, I'll shoot a three. And it's good. Leah Nelson with her second three of the game. Port Allegany now up 25-3. Port Allegany is 6 of 13 from the three-point line, just under 50%. Moses looks to drive, harassed by Corey Dixon. That ball's out of bounds, stays with Port Allegany. Into the game for Port Allegany, number 21, Bree Daniels. Shots up, no good by Stauffer. All the way up the floor, shot blocked by Daniels as it was attempted by Mackenzie Taylor. Evans leaves it for Dowell. Dowell looks to drive baseline, kicks it to Willow Sowers. Her shot's up, no good. Sowers checked into the game. Sorry about that. I did not see that one either. Dowell with the rebound. We've got a timeout by Port Allegany coach Jamie Evans. It'll be a full timeout with Port Allegany up 25-11, 5:24 to go in the first half. The Port Allegany cheerleaders. Yeah, definitely up and down the floor. Like I said, I have unofficially Port Allegany attempting 13 threes. They've made 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 of 13, just a little bit under 50%. I'm used to wrestling where you shoot and you get it, you know, so. Over to Sowers, back to Bryn. Evans, Bree Daniels fires up a shot. It's off the rim. Long rebound will go out of bounds and will go to Bradford. Ball into Mackenzie Taylor. She brings it up. Guarded by Bree Daniels. Long three up by Benson. No good. Rebound loose. Taylor picks it up. Her putback no good. Moses brings it down. Slows it down. Now she decides to drive. Kicks it to Dowell. Dowell over to Evans. Evans' three's up and good. Bryn Evans with her second three of the game. Talking to Coach Evans before the game, and he said that my Hershey Hawkins comments, he'd like to hear it like 3 or 4 times. I guess they were very unsuccessful from the three-point line last night against Oswego Valley. But right now, Port Allegany 7 for 14 unofficially from the line. So, yes, there is another Hershey Hawkins name drop. Dowell says, I'll shoot a three. Bank is open for her, too. Well, all the times with me wrestling, if I could hit the backboard, I was happy, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it counts for me. No good. Rebound by Moses. Moses maybe has 8 rebounds already. She quickly gets it up to Dowell. Dowell hustle, gets her own rebound into the hands of Daniels. Daniels shots up, no good. Dowell with the rebound. She's fouled. She'll go to the line to shoot 2. Kalia Daniels going to the line for her 4th and 5th time today. So far, 3 for 3. I probably jinxed her. Yeah, Dowell. Oh, sorry, I said Davis. I did jinx her. Now in, we have Jen Baxter and Leah Nelson. Dowell's next is good. Dowell 4 of 5 from the line. Stoffer shot up, no good. Benson. Looks to drive. Benson shot up, no good. Again, Moses. This game, Moses is a little better than Windex, just cleaning everything off the glass. To Baxter. Baxter over to Nelson. Nelson looks to drive, leaves it for Moses. Moses to Evans. Evans' shot's up, no good. 2:49 left. Score 32-11. Port Allegany on top. Ball into the hands of Benson. Evans has a steal. Evans looks over to Stoffer. Stoffer's shot from the elbow. Bucket's good. 34-11 now. Foul called on Bryn Evans. That'll be her second. Team's 4th. Ball back to Benson. Benson guarded by Stauffer. Gets it over to Taylor. Taylor gets it into Percini. Percini's pass deflected and stolen by Baxter. Baxter into the hands of Moses. Moses stops, pops, shot up, no good. Taylor brings down the rebound for Bradford. Pass deflected by Nelson into the hands of Moses. Moses quickly up the court. 154. She's fouled. I believe it'll be on Percini. If it is, that's her third. Yes, it is Percini's third. Moses to the line to shoot the 1-and-1. Shot coming up. Moses' first is good. No, Moses with the N1. Second is up and good. 36-11, timeout by Bradford. Again, unofficially, I have 8 for 17 from the line, from the three-point line for Port Allegany, and from the foul line, 6 for 7 from the foul line. Okay, Port Allegany back now out on the floor. They come with Dowell, Moses, Stauffer, Nelson, and Daniels. Ball into Johnson. Johnson gets it to Taylor. She's guarded by Nelson. Nelson knocks the ball away. Nelson keeps it, kicks it over to Stauffer. Her shot's up, no good. Johnson with the rebound for Bradford, headed the other direction. Quickly gets it out to Corey Dixon. Her shot's up, no good. Nelson went for the rebound but was on the line. Ball back to Bradford. 1:29 left. The first half. Back into the game from Port Allegany, Willow Sowers. She replaces Ella Moses. Ball into Kaylee Dixon. Her shot's up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Corey Dixon. She's called for a travel. Ball back to Port Allegany. Nelson, Dowell cutting, gets it to Dowell in the high post, knocked away by Corey Dixon. Dixon keeps it, kicks it out to Benson. Benson looking for down low, looking for Kaylee Dixon, who had inside position, just couldn't get to it. Dowell drops it off for Nelson, 1 minute left. Nelson across the line. Nelson goes one-on-one. Her shot's up, no good. Rebound into the hands of Johnson, off of Johnson's foot. Ball back to Port Allegany with 45 seconds left. Ball out to Dowell. Dowell drives, her shot's up and good. That is Dowell's 13th point of the game. Ball to Benson. Now Benson gets it out to Kaylee Dixon. Her shot's up, no good. 18 seconds left. Port Allegany up 38-11. Nelson brings the ball up. Out to Dowell. Dowell to Stauffer to Nelson. Nelson fires up a three. It's up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Johnson. That'll do it for the end of the first half. It's Port Allegany up over visiting Bradford 38-11. We'll be back in about 8 minutes. Okay, we're back. We're real quick rundown. Kalia Dowell leading the Gators with 12 points as she has hit 2 threes. Brent Evans has 8. She also has 2 threes. Evan Stauffer with 7. She's got a 3. Leah Nelson with 2 threes. And Ella Moses with a 3. So Port Allegany, I have them, like I said, unofficially 9 for 18, which puts them at 50%. Bradford's leading scorer, Elena Benson with 7. Kaylee Dixon has 2. Mackenzie Haller has 2. Ball now to be inbounded by the Gators. Stauffer brings it up. Stauffer looks down low to Evans. Ball tapped away, but into the hands of Port Allegany's Kalia Dowell. Dowell gets it back out to Nelson. Nelson over to Moses. She pulls up a 3. No good. Rebound kept alive by Stauffer. Then we have a jump ball between Nelson and Kaylee Dixon. The ball back to Bradford. Benson over to Corey Dixon. Tries to get it down low. Ball knocked away into the hands of Nelson. Nelson over to Stauffer. Bren over to Nelson. Nelson's 3's up, and it's good. Leah Nelson with her 3rd three-pointer of the game. 41-11. Now I believe in basketball, after 30, it's a running clock. Rebound by Kaylee Dixon. She puts it back up and in. I do believe now the clock will only stop for timeouts. Football's 35, basketball's 30. Kalia Dowell, she fires up a 3, and that's good. 44-13. Ball into the hands of Kaylee Dixon. She's harassed, gets the ball off to Mackenzie Taylor, gets it into Benson. Her shot knocked away by Leah Nelson. Ball back to Port Allegany. Must have went back off of Taylor. Stauffer gets it to Dowell. Dowell over to Moses. Moses, long skip pass for Brent Evans to Dowell. Stauffer steps out. Stauffer gets it to Moses out top to Brent Evans. Down low to Dowell. Dowell shots up, no good. Rebound by Mackenzie Taylor. Taylor now gets it to Benson. Benson looks down low to Kaylee Dixon. Her move up, no good. Rebound loose. Saved into the hands of Benson. Benson's jumper no good. Evans pulls down a rebound, finally controls it for the Gators. 5:20 left in the 3rd quarter, 44-13. Moses looks to drive. Her shot's up, no good. Kaylee Dixon with the outlet to Benson. Benson now, her shot's up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Leah Nelson. Evans back to Nelson. Nelson over to Dowell. Dowell fires up another 3. In and out. No good. Rebound out of bounds to Bradford. In now. Jen Baxter comes in for Brent Evans. Yes, it is, Ben. Kaylee Dixon's pass thrown out of bounds back to Port Allegany. Dowell to Moses. Moses steps inside a three-point line. Her bucket's good. Making it 46-11, or sorry, 46-13. give and go. Benson, she draws the foul. Benson out top, got it to Kaylee Dixon, then cut to the basket. She's fouled by Jen Baxter. That's Baxter's first. Benson to the line to shoot 2. That bucket's good. Benson now with 8 points. And the other one's good. Benson, 4 for 4 from the line tonight for Bradford. 46-15. Stauffer looks to drive. Her little running jumper's up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Mackenzie Taylor. Taylor called for the travel. Port Allegany applied a little pressure out front. Now into the game for the Gators, number 22, Willow Sowers. So on the floor we have Nelson, Moses, Dowell, Sowers, and Evans. Sowers and Baxter. Baxter replaced Evans. Dowell now. Skip pass to Baxter. Baxter to Moses. Moses to Nelson. Moses cuts down low on a low block. Gets it over to Sowers. Her shot is blocked, but into the hands of Dowell. Dowell's shot from just on the foul line up and good. Benson looks to drive on Moses. Kicks it out to Kaylee Dixon. Her left-handed layup's up, no good. Baxter with the rebound. Nelson now out top. Nelson looks to drive. Nelson, clean block called. Falls into the hands of Percini. Percini looks out ahead to Benson. Benson fires up a 3 off to the front of the rim. Sowers grabs a rebound for Port Allegany, hands it back to Nelson. 48-15, 1:40 left. Stolen by Benson. Her bucket's up and in. Benson now has 11 for Bradford. To Moses. Moses looks to drive, kicks back to Nelson. Nelson fires up a 3 off the front of the rim, no good. Benson quickly up the floor, knocked away by Nelson. Benson picked up the dribble, gets it out to Percini. Percini's three's in and out, no good. Rebound. Dowell comes down with it, 1 minute left. Dowell looks to drive. Knocked out of bounds off of Percini. That'll be Port Allegany basketball. Bree Daniels now in for Dowell. Ball to Moses. Moses shot from the baseline, no good. Follows her own rebound. Tries reverse layup, blocked by Kaylee Dixon. Moses off of Moses. Taylor fires it up with 1 second left. That's the end of the third quarter. Port Allegany up 48-17. I'll leave the mic on so we can hear the cheerleaders the best we can due to our headsets. Okay, we're back for the start of the fourth quarter. Elena Benson has 11 points, leading Bradford in scoring. Kaylee Dixon with 4, Mackenzie Taylor with 2. For Port Allegany, real quick, Kalia Dow has 17. Leah Nelson next with 9. Bryn Evans has 8. Evan Stauffer and Ella Moses have 7 apiece. Again, this is unofficial as I'm trying to keep track of stuff as I'm up here. Ball into Dowell. Her shot's up. No good. Rebound pulled down by Corey Dixon. Dixon gets it off to Mackenzie Taylor. To Carly Percini. Her shot's up. No good. Rebound put back up by Corey Dixon. It's no good. Ball into the hands of Stauffer. Stauffer brings it out. Gets it off to Moses. Moses and Stauffer give and go. Stauffer's bucket's up and good, giving her 9 points for the game. Percini. Now to Benson. Benson brings it back out. In the high post to Kaylee Dixon. She kicks it over to Corey Dixon. The three's up and no good. Stauffer now over half court. Moses pass for Nelson. Nelson again looks to drive. Nelson kicks off to Dowell. Her shot's up, no good. Nelson gets a rebound, puts it back up, and shot's no good into the hands of Dowell. Dowell puts it back up, and we'll go to the line to shoot 2. That foul is on Mackenzie Taylor. That's her second. Team's first. Dowell's first shot, no good. Second shot, no good. Yeah. Taylor gets it to Corey Dixon. Back to Taylor. Now to Kaylee Dixon. Off the hands of Percini. Picked up by Nelson. Nelson gets it into Dowell. Dowell gets it over. Dowell's drive, basket, unable to go in. Moses with the rebound, kicks it to Bree Daniels. Bree Daniels scores the bucket. 52-17. Dowell with a tip into the hands of Moses. Moses looks to come down the floor. She's fouled by Percini. That'll be Percini's fourth. Port Allegany with substitutes. And now is Sowers. So Port Allegany now has Stauffer, Sowers, Baxter, Nelson, and Moses. Bradford has Johnson, Taylor, Dixon, and Benson still in the game. Moses to Baxter, Baxter to Nelson, knocked away by Taylor. Or I'm sorry, now Mallory Craig in for Bradford. Stauffer shoots up a three, no good. Rebound run down by Moses. Back to Stauffer. Stauffer looks to drive. Her shot's up, no good, into the hands of Baxter. Baxter goes to put it back up. Ball still alive. Moses comes away with it, gets it to Nelson. Now over to Sowers. Shots up, no good by Stauffer. Daniels with her second bucket of the game. Dixon, ball in the hands of Sowers. Sowers with the steal. Sowers drops it off to Moses. Moses looks to drive, kicks it back to Stauffer. Stauffer shots up. It's on the line. Stauffer with 2. That gives her 11 points for the game. Ball inside. Kaylee Dixon with a nice move for Bradford. (56-19). Sowers to Daniels. Moses. Stauffer. Baxter. Baxter has it knocked off of her foot. Goes out of bounds. Stays. Goes back to Bradford. Benson, pass deflected by Evans out of bounds. Ball kicked out to Craig. Craig over to Corey Dixon, gets it down low into Kaylee Dixon. Her shot's up no good, but Dixon gets the rebound, gets it to the hands of Lisa Johnson. She's fouled by Stauffer. That's Stauffer's first. Johnson to the line to shoot 2. Johnson's first, no good off the front of the rim. Johnson second. No good. Rebound pulled down by Brent Evans. Evans being harassed. Ball loose. Goes out of bounds. 1:39 and running the clock still. Ball to be inbounds by Bradford. On the floor is Stauffer. Foul called on Percini. No, it wasn't called on Percini. It was called on number 20, Craig. Baxter. Foul was called on Baxter. Mallory Craig to the line to shoot 2. Okay, real quick, leading scorers for Port Allegany, number 23, Kalia Dowell with 17. She was followed by Evan Stauffer with 11. Leah Nelson had 9. Brent Evans had 8. Ella Moses 7. Bree Daniels 4. I don't have the official rebound stats, but I'm pretty sure Ella Moses was in double digits. For Bradford, they were left by Elena Benson with 11, followed by Kaylee Dixon with 6, Mackenzie Taylor 2, Mallory Craig with 1. Again, thank you all for joining us. Our next game will be Monday night, as the boys will take on, I believe, Oswego Valley. I will not be able to be at 10, so we will have Dan on the mic and David doing the again, coming to you from the swamp here in Port Allegany. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully you'll tune in again Monday night as the boys will play host to Oswego Valley Green Wave. Thank you and good evening.